let's get to Virginia. Glenn Youngkin. I think this is one of the reasons I am so serious about solidarity, because we're not fighting against a small movement. We're fighting against a well-funded, a well-organized movement in this country that's installing people like the next guy in Virginia. He is on Fox News defending his position on critical race theory, on the ban on critical race theory that he instituted on his very first day in office as governor. Now, we all know that's nothing more than a dog and pony show, because you can't ban something that technically doesn't really exist in your state. However, it's the game. It's the show. Let's take a look at Fox News.
School system. We're not going to teach our children to view everything through a lens of race. Yes, we will teach all history, the good and the bad, because we can't know where we're going unless we know where we have come from. But to actually teach our children that one group is advantaged and another is disadvantaged simply because of the color of their skin cuts across everything we know to be true. And the immortal words of Dr. Martin Luther King ring in our ears that we must judge one another by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. But this is what will be the founding principle of our executive order, what we're going to do in Virginia schools.
Who wants it first? I don't even want to. This is the game, right? It is, the banning of it is more symbolic than anything else, but the symbolism is very loud for all of his supporters and all the people who like to look at accurate American history as a threat to their life or something. I don't know exactly the threat they fear, but Sister Nomiki, let me come to you first, and then Dr. Matt.
I mean, the nerve, the audacity. Again, they know what they're doing and they don't care. He's reinventing. It's another big lie. I mean, this is what the right wing does, especially at this moment, is they create these big lies to inspire their base. And in a state like Virginia, they just want to make sure that base is activated. I have family members who are part of that base. I know exactly what he's saying and who he's saying it to. They want to make sure they're organized, activated, and have an enemy. And right now that enemy is history. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Dr. Mack.
Well, given that they commonly will invoke King, so the question is, why did Dr. King say, I want you to judge me on the content of my character, not the color of the skin? Why did he say that? Okay. Now, since you're going to invoke Dr. King, I want you to go back to 1947 when Dr. King was at Morehouse College. And this is a statement that Dr. King said, incredibly enough, about CRT. He didn't call it CRT, but this is what Dr. King said when he was at Morehouse. He said, the purpose of education is to save a man from the morass of propaganda. Now, what is morass? Morass is a confused, complicated situation. So it's not that the governor is confused, but the governor is, quite frankly, and all of those against CRT, using propaganda to not discuss what they consider their history. So Dr. King is saying, to save a man from being confused, this is why we should teach it. So what is it that the governor is afraid of? Since he's talking about children, is he afraid of the fact that now the state of Virginia at one time passed a law making it illegal to educate these children simply because of the color of their skin? Is the governor of Virginia afraid to educate these children and tell them that when they were born, their status was based on the status of their enslaved mother? Is the governor of Virginia afraid to tell and teach that the state of Virginia said that even if you were free and you were a Black Christian, that you could not sue for, or not if you were free, but if you were a Black enslaved and you were indoctrinated with Christianity, you couldn't sue the state of Virginia for your freedom based on Christianity? Is he afraid to teach even when we talk about his predecessor, Governor Northam, see, Northam came in and did what? He now got caught up in this propaganda of Juneteenth and decided to make Juneteenth a state paid holiday. Are they afraid to teach that on July 1st, 2019, that the City Council of Charlottesville, Virginia, established a new holiday called Liberation and Freedom Day? Now, why did they do that? Because, see, the state of Virginia did not end chattel slavery until the 13th Amendment, ratified, that was made legal on December 6th, 1865, and then adopted on December 18th, 1865. But what the city of Charlottesville, Virginia recognized is what I've been trying to teach all of this time, is that Liberation Day for our enslaved people happened throughout the Civil War. So what happened on March 3rd, and the reason why they made Freedom and Liberation Day March 3rd is because there was a Union Army Major General who came in, and his name was General Philip Sherman. He arrived in Charlottesville and he liberated 14,000 enslaved people in the state of Virginia. Is he afraid? Is he afraid to teach that during the time in the state of Virginia that children were conceived from rape? Is he afraid to teach that children were separated from their parents in the state of Virginia? Are these the things that he's most afraid of? So again, when you want to invoke Dr. King, remember what Dr. King said about education. He said the purpose of education is to save a man from the morass of propaganda. And these folks are experts in propaganda. It's not that they're confused. They absolutely know.
They know
what happened. And now to say to King, to say about King, to try to use King, he don't want our children to be judged on the color of their skin, but the content of their character. That is what America has done. It has looked at me, not knowing anything about my character, but clearly can see the color of my skin. And that judgment has been one that has left me in a inferior status in comparison to that white superiority that America has built this nation on.